Have you ever looked at a world map and wondered, why are some land masses joined while others are kept apart by just a sliver of water? Look closely at the Western Mediterranean. Europe and Africa sit there almost touching. They gaze at each other across a narrow strait, close enough to see the lights of one continent from the shores of the other. Yet no bridge spans this gap. No tunnel burrows beneath it. This separation, which seems so small on a global scale, has shaped history. This separation has shaped culture. This separation has shaped power for millennia. It raises a fundamental question: why aren't these two colossal continents connected? To understand the separation, we must first appreciate the proximity. The point where Europe and Africa come closest is a dramatic and historically charged location. In the south of Spain, the Iberian Peninsula juts out into the sea. Directly opposite, the northern coast of Morocco reaches back. Between these 2 points lies the Strait of Gibraltar. At its narrowest, this channel of water is only 14.3 kilometers, or about 8.9 miles wide. On a clear day, the view from one side to the other is astonishing. From the Spanish city of Tarifa, you can easily see the rugged mountains of Morocco. From Tangier in Morocco, the coastline of Spain is a constant, visible presence on the horizon. This isn't a theoretical closeness, it's a tangible, visual connection. This narrow passage is the only natural link between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Imagine a massive hourglass. The Atlantic is one giant bulb, the Mediterranean is the other, and the Strait of Gibraltar is the tiny neck connecting them. The Strait of Gibraltar, as we know it, is a relatively recent feature in geological terms. Its creation story is a drama of epic proportions: continental collisions, a catastrophic flood. For millions of years, the Mediterranean was a vast, dry, incredibly deep basin, leaving the Messinian salinity crisis in its wake. A land bridge connected Africa and Europe, blocking the Atlantic. Around 6 million years ago, African and Eurasian plates pushed the bridge up, sealing the Mediterranean. About 5.33 million years ago, the land bridge finally broke. Maybe gradual erosion, maybe a powerful earthquake. Whatever the trigger, water from the Atlantic thundered through in the Zanclean flood, a colossal waterfall, hundreds of times larger than the Amazon, 1,000 times more powerful than Niagara. Water filled the basin, possibly in as little as 2 years, carving the channel we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. It gouged a deep canyon, creating complex underwater topography and depths reaching over 900 meters. One reason a bridge or tunnel is so difficult. In the 21st century, the Strait of Gibraltar remains a place of immense strategic and symbolic importance. It is a bustling marine highway, a liquid border that is both a bridge and a barrier. Its surface is constantly churned by the wakes of colossal container ships, moving goods between Asia, Europe, the Americas. Oil tankers navigate its currents, carrying the energy that fuels modern economies. Naval vessels from various nations patrol its waters, a reminder of its geopolitical significance. This constant flow of commerce makes ports like Algeciras in Spain and Tanger Med in Morocco among the busiest in the world. Beneath the surface, two distinct currents flow: lighter Atlantic water in at the surface and saltier Mediterranean water out beneath. That deep outflow is like an underwater river, invisible to ancient mariners. Tourists take ferries for wonder and quick crossings. A ferry from Tarifa to Tangier takes under an hour. But for many migrants from Africa, the strait is a perilous barrier, the final and most dangerous obstacle. The political geography is complex: Spanish territory, British Gibraltar, Moroccan shores, and Spanish exclaves on the African mainland. So the Strait of Gibraltar is not just a geographical feature, it is a corridor of history, a stage where empires have risen and fallen. For millennia, this narrow waterway served as a route for conquerors, traders, and cultural exchange. In 711 AD, an army led by Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed from North Africa, landing at Jabal Tariq, which we now call Gibraltar. That began nearly 800 years of Moorish influence in Spain. It profoundly shaped culture, architecture, and knowledge across the Iberian Peninsula. But the flow of history wasn't one way. Centuries later, the direction of conquest reversed. After the Reconquista in 1492, Spanish and Portuguese forces crossed into North Africa and beyond. The Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, just west of the strait, secured British naval supremacy and cemented Gibraltar's strategic importance. Beyond grand campaigns, the strait hosted everyday crossings: merchants, scholars, pilgrims, and families. The strait facilitated blending of civilizations, architecture, music, food, creating a unique borderland culture visible even today. People on either side share more than a view, they share an intertwined past. The Strait of Gibraltar is a critical migratory corridor for the animal kingdom. Twice a year, the skies fill with millions of birds, storks, eagles, honey buzzards, vultures, all using the shortest sea crossing. They rely on thermal updrafts to gain height, thermals that don't form over open water, so they use the narrowest crossing. Beneath the surface, mixing Atlantic and Mediterranean waters create nutrient-rich zones that attract dolphins, whales, and abundant marine life. Common and striped dolphins play in ships' bow waves. Pilot whales, sperm whales, and even orcas are frequently sighted here. Bluefin tuna migrate to spawn here, making the strait a critical habitat for many species. On land, the Barbary macaques of Gibraltar link Europe and Africa, genetically identical to macaques in Morocco. Legends say they crossed via a tunnel. More likely, humans transported them centuries ago. The strait's migrations make it a conservation hotspot, and the fate of species on two continents can hinge on this narrow channel. Geography is the stage upon which politics plays out. Few places show this as clearly as the Strait of Gibraltar. Its status as a maritime choke point gives it immense geopolitical power. A choke point is a narrow channel critical to international sea lanes. Control it and you can disrupt trade and military movements. Approximately 300 ships pass through every day, accounting for a significant portion of global maritime traffic. Like the Suez Canal or the Strait of Malacca, the Gibraltar Gap is vital for the global flow of goods. Security in the strait is an international concern. Search and rescue, anti-smuggling, and counter-terrorism require cooperation. The political landscape is a web of competing interests. Spain, Morocco, and the UK's Gibraltar stake complicated diplomacy. Spain's exclaves on the African mainland, Ceuta and Melilla, add another layer to the geopolitical chessboard. The ports at the mouth of the strait are massive transshipment hubs that owe their success to location. But concentration of activity creates vulnerabilities. Political crises, accidents, or blockades can ripple through the global economy. Shared threats force reluctant cooperation. No single country can manage this waterway alone. The strait is a microcosm of global politics. National interests clash, but geography demands practical partnership. The idea of physically linking Europe and Africa has captivated engineers and politicians for decades. That tantalizingly short distance makes a bridge or tunnel seem logical. A permanent, all-weather connection. Imagine cars and high-speed trains moving across. But the water is incredibly deep, over 900 meters in places, and the seabed is unstable. The strait sits in an active seismic zone. Earthquakes are a real threat, making a solid foundation problematic. Strong currents, fierce winds, and constant ship traffic would stress any megastructure and present navigational hazards. A bridge would need impossibly long spans and towers taller than any built. A tunnel is often proposed as more realistic, burrowing deep beneath the seabed to avoid unstable layers. The Euphrates Tunnel has been discussed for years. It would be longer than the Channel Tunnel and far more complex. The cost would be astronomical, tens of billions, and political will and financing remain major obstacles. In the end, the gap between Europe and Africa is more than just a geographical feature. It is a source of fascination, a driver of human experience, trade, tourism, and everyday crossings. The fact that the continents are not connected gives our world texture and complexity. Created by violent geological forces, this separation fostered distinct cultures, ecosystems, and political realities. Crossing the water, watching a new shore grow on the horizon, makes the transition meaningful. It fuels curiosity. Why is the world shaped this way? The Strait is a natural laboratory, a living museum, and a theater for migrations. It inspires wonder, challenges scientists and tests mariners, and reminds us of our limits before the planet's forces. Perhaps it is better this way, a small but profound separation that invites us to cross the water and discover what lies on the other side.